Check your rearview mirror. Right now. What do you see behind you? A pair of headlights. Or just black? If it's nothing but darkness back there. Good. Or, I don't know. Maybe not good. Maybe that's worse. Keep listening. Because the three people in these stories all made the same mistake. They thought being surrounded by nothing meant being safe. No neighbors. No traffic. No streetlights. No cameras. Just trees and stars, and whatever was already standing in those trees, watching them set up camp. In the first story, a group of friends wakes up to footprints circling their tent. Dozens of them, pressed into the dirt in a perfect, obsessive loop. Every set of prints stops at the tent zipper. Every single one. And all four of them were inside, zipped in, the entire night. In the second, a woman camping alone hears a whistle float across a black lake. She whistles back. She shouldn't have, because the thing that answered her wasn't on the other side of the water. It was already behind her tent. And in the third story, a family sets up 3 camping chairs around a fire. In the morning, there are 4. 7 years later, a photo from that night shows something sitting in the extra chair that none of them could see. If you're on an empty highway right now, windows up, music off, headlights cutting a tunnel through nothing, then you already know what it feels like. To be completely alone, in the dark, with no way of knowing if that's actually true.
I need to tell you how this ends before I tell you how it starts. 3 days after we got home, after we'd left our tents and gear rotting at Site 23, after we'd driven 90 miles in dead silence with the doors locked, every single one of us received a text. Same number, same timestamp, same 2 words. Next time that was 4 years ago. None of us have changed our numbers. We've moved apartments, changed jobs. Mark got married. Kyle lives in a different state. But we all still have that text sitting in our phones, like a splinter we can't pull out, because deleting it feels like answering it. Now let me tell you what happened. It was me, my cousin Mark, his girlfriend Jess, and my buddy Kyle. Mid-20s, 2 tents, 1 car. We picked Site 23 specifically because it was the most isolated loop in the park. Dead end of a gravel road, no neighbors, the kind of place where the trees swallow your headlights before you even kill the engine. We set up fast. 2 tents, 1 fire ring, a lantern hissing on the picnic table. The forest around us was thick and quiet, not peaceful quiet, pressurized quiet, like the woods were holding their breath. The first weird thing happened right after sunset. Mark had walked down the narrow dirt path to the outhouse. 3 minutes later, he came back faster than he'd left. "Dude," he said, sitting down heavy on the log next to the fire. "Who just walked past me on the trail?" Jess looked up. Nobody left camp. The path to the outhouse was the only way in or out. None of us had moved. "I thought it was you," Mark said to me. "Same jacket, same build, same hat." I said your name. They didn't turn around, didn't say anything, just walked right past me toward the campsite. He pointed his flashlight around the perimeter. Our 2 tents, the car, the fire, the picnic table. Nobody. Kyle cracked a new beer and made some joke about my evil twin. Everyone laughed. We should have left right then. We went to bed just after midnight. I was almost asleep when I heard the gravel. Footsteps. Slow, measured steps circling our tent. I lay completely still. Next to me, Jess's hand found my arm in the dark and squeezed. The steps passed directly behind my head, close enough that I felt the vibration through the ground, through my sleeping pad. The nylon wall bowed slightly inward, like something large was displacing the space beside us. I checked my phone. 2:41 a.m. No signal. I thumbed a text to Mark anyway. "You awake? Someone's outside." 2 seconds later, I heard his tent zipper start to open. The footsteps stopped. Not slowed. Stopped. Instantly. Like someone had pressed a button. The silence that followed was the worst kind. The kind where you can hear your own blood moving. Or maybe that was just my heartbeat. I don't know. Mark's zipper stopped halfway. Nobody moved. Nobody breathed. Then the footsteps started again. Faster this time. Moving away from the tents, toward the tree line. And then they ran. Not away from us. Around us. A full sprint. Circling the campsite, just beyond the ring of dead firelight. Heavy, pounding footfalls. The sound of someone running laps around our camp with absolute purpose. Mechanical, relentless. I pictured a man in dark clothes, head down, arms pumping, orbiting our tents in a wide, tireless loop. I hated that image. I still do. Mark's voice drifted across from the other tent. Quiet, controlled, but I could hear the shake underneath. Guys, stay inside. There's someone out there. The running stopped. The woods went dead. We lay there for what felt like an hour, listening to nothing. Eventually we fell into these thin, restless half-dreams, where every rustle was a hand on the tent. Dawn saved us. The first gray light through the tent walls felt like being pulled out of a river. Jess and I almost fell over each other getting the zipper open. It caught on the fabric twice before I got it down. My hands were still shaking. Mark and Kyle were already outside, standing still, staring at the ground. "Don't step on them," Mark said. I didn't understand at first. Then my eyes adjusted. Footprints. Everywhere. The soil around our camp was soft, a mix of pine needles and dry dust. Our own shoe prints from the night before we're there. Normal stuff, but layered over all of it, circling both tents in a wide, overlapping loop, were fresh tracks. The same shoe. Every print identical. A light hiking boot, maybe size 10, with a worn patch on the right heel. Dozens of them, maybe 100. Walking, running, walking again. And every few revolutions, the tracks stopped right at a tent door. Toe prints facing the zipper. Weight shifted forward, like whoever it was had crouched down, leaned in, listened, then turned sharply and resumed the loop. "Tell me that was you," I said to Mark. He just pointed at his own boots by the tent. Completely different shoe, completely different size. I followed the stranger's prints away from the campsite. They went down the access path about 50 feet, then turned hard right, directly into the woods. No trail, no clearing, just dense brush that looked undisturbed despite the footprints walking straight into it. Gone, like whoever it was had dissolved. We should have left then, too. But daylight does something to fear. It shrinks it, makes it feel embarrassing. By noon, we decided it was probably a drunk hiker who'd wandered over in the dark. Weird, sure, but human. I told myself I believed that. I needed to believe it. We stayed for the second night. That was the mistake I still can't explain. The second night was colder. The shadows leaned in closer. None of us mentioned it, but we all sat facing outward, backs to the flames, scanning the tree line. We were mid-conversation when Jess suddenly went rigid. "Mark," she whispered, "did you move the car?" He frowned. "No, keys are in my pocket," she said. "So who turned on the—" We all looked. Our car's headlights were blazing, full beam, cutting through the trees. Engine off, doors closed. 2 white circles punching into our campsite. Nobody moved for 3 full seconds. I walked toward the light with my hands shaking, shielding my eyes against the glare. The driver's door was wide open, interior light on, seats empty, keys not in the ignition. I jammed my hand into my pocket. Car keys. Still there. Still in my pocket. The door had been opened without them. Very funny. I called into the woods. Anger was all I had left. Nothing answered. I killed the headlights. Slammed the door. Walked back to the fire without looking anywhere except the ground. Nobody confessed. Because nobody had done it. We went to bed early. Zippers locked. Knives within reach. I didn't sleep. I just lay there, staring at the tent ceiling. 1:18 a.m. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. Too many digits, like someone had dialed from a switchboard that didn't exist. Come outside, I stared at the screen. Second message. "I left you something by the fire I should Jess awake." She read it, and the color drained from her face. Third message. "I like your car, my blood went cold." Not a figure of speech. An actual physical sensation. "Mark." I hissed through the tent wall. "Mark." His voice came back instantly. Wide awake. I got them too. Same number. "What's yours say?" He was quiet for a second. "The last one's different." He held his phone screen against his tent wall, so I could read the glow through the nylon. Nice tent. The moment I read those words, something brushed the outside of our tent wall, right above Jess's head. Slow. Light. A single fingertip dragged across the fabric. Jess clamped both hands over her mouth. The finger traced a slow line from one side of the wall to the other, then stopped. Right at the zipper. I heard a faint metallic click, like a fingernail tapping the zipper pull. Once, twice. Mark's 10 erupted in noise. Zipper ripping open, boots hitting dirt. Get out. Now. I grabbed the knife, grabbed Jess, and tore our zipper open. We spilled out into the clearing, flashlights swinging. Nothing. Nobody. And sitting in the center of the dead fire, placed carefully, almost ceremonially, was my hat. The hat I'd locked in the glove compartment before bed. The car was still closed. Still locked. Keys still in my pocket. The hat was sitting upright in the ash like a gift. We didn't pack. We didn't fold the tents. We left everything standing like a crime scene and ran for the car. My hand shook so badly the key wouldn't enter the ignition on the first try. I dropped them. Fumbled. Whispered shit under my breath. Second try, it slid in. I hit the gas before everyone's doors were fully shut. Gravel sprayed. The headlights swept across the tree line. And for one frame, one single heartbeat, I thought I saw someone standing at the edge of the campsite behind us. Standing in front of my tent. Wearing my hat. I told myself I imagined it. I've been telling myself that for 4 years. I don't believe me. The ranger station didn't answer when we called. The park office took a report and never followed up. 3 days later, the text arrived. All 4 phones. Same impossible number. Next time we don't talk about Site 23 anymore. Not really. But every once in a while, late at night, one of us will send a message to the group chat. Just 2 words. You remember? And we all say the same thing. Yeah, don't go back.
The part that keeps me awake isn't what I heard. It's what I did. I answered it. And something on the other side of that lake said, "Good." Like I just passed a test I didn't know I was taking. Like I just agreed to something I'll never understand. I'm a 31-year-old woman. I camp alone. Or I did. I'm decent with a knife. Solid with a map. Ex-Girl Scout. I know what animals sound like at night. I know the difference between a branch falling and a footstep. I don't scare easily. I've never called off a trip because of a noise. What happened at that lake was different. Mid-September. Small, unmanned campground in northern Minnesota. 10 sites around a glacial lake. No power. No running water. No cell service. Just pit toilets and pine trees, and a boat launch with a rusted chain across it. I pulled in around 5 p.m. Only car in the lot. I chose the site farthest from the entrance, near a narrow finger of the lake that poked back into the woods like a dead-end hallway. Set up the tent. Hung my food bag. Built a fire. Watched the sun dissolve into the tree line. By full dark, it was just me, the fire, and a sky so full of stars it almost looked fake. I was halfway through my second cup of boxed wine when I heard it. A whistle. 3 notes. High, then low, then high again. Lilting. Musical. Like the opening bar of a lullaby I knew, but couldn't name. It floated across the water from the opposite shore. My first thought, another camper. Dispersed sight on the far side. My second thought was harder to shake. The opposite shore was a solid half-mile away. Dense forest. No trails. No sights. No reason for anyone to be there. "Hello," I called out. Nothing. Then, after a pause that lasted exactly long enough to make me doubt myself, the whistle came again. Same 3 notes. Patient. Almost playful. And I, without thinking, without deciding, whistled it back. The response came instantly. Same melody, but with 2 extra notes added. Higher. Like whoever was out there was extending the song. Teaching me the next phrase. I should have stopped. I know that now. But something about the silence, the isolation, the whine, I don't know. It felt like a game. Like something harmless. I whistled the full pattern back. All 5 notes. The air around me shifted. Something I can feel in my memory, but can't name. Like the distance between me and the far shore had quietly shrunk. Silence held for 3 seconds. Then, across the water, a voice. Good. 1 word. Low. Maybe male. Or maybe not. The more I think about it, the less certain I am that it sounded human at all. It sounded like something shaping itself into a human voice, getting the general idea right, but missing the warmth. And the worst part, the detail that made my stomach fold, was how close it sounded. Not half a mile away. It sounded like someone standing 30 feet behind me. I spun around. Nothing. Just my tent, my fire, my car glinting on the parking pad. The far shore was a black wall of trees. No lantern glow. No flashlight. No movement. I went back to my chair. Turned it around, so I was facing the trees. Told myself sound does weird things over water at night. Told myself this was just some guy who'd heard my fire. I almost believed it. Around midnight, I killed a fire and got into my tent. Knife next to my pillow. Flashlight within arm's reach. I was 3/4 asleep when the whistling started again. 3 notes. Pause. 2 more. The complete version. The one I'd helped build. Except this time it wasn't coming from across the lake. It was right outside my tent. My hand was around the knife before I was fully conscious. "Who's there?" I said, calmly, firmly, the way you talk to a dog you're not sure about. No response. The whistle came again. Same spot, a head height. Like whoever was doing it had their lips inches from the tent fabric. I steadied my voice. "I'm armed. I already called the ranger station." Lie. My phone had no signal. Nobody knew I was here. And then, from the far shore, the same whistle. 5 notes. Synchronized with something right outside my tent. I couldn't make sense of it. One person outside, one person half a mile away, both hitting the same melody at the same moment. Or the thing across the water had already crossed. Or there'd only ever been one thing, and I'd invited it by answering. That thought was the one that stuck. I did this. A laugh came from inches away. Soft, wet, patient in a way that made my stomach drop, like whatever it was had been standing there a long time and was only now deciding to let me know. I didn't think. I slashed. Knife through the tent wall. Flashlight through the gap. Swept around. Pine needles. Dirt. Tree trunk 5 feet out. No prints. From across the lake, 3 slow claps. I got out of the tent with the knife and the light and turned a full circle. Then the whistling opened up from everywhere, layered over itself, staggered, like something doing a round with itself. I ran to the car. Locks. Key. Nothing. No cough, no click. Dome light flickered. Headlights came on by themselves. At the far edge of the beams, where the light ran out, something was standing. Tall. Narrow. Its shadow fell the wrong direction. I hit the horn and screamed. It cut off. The shape was gone. I turned the key. It started. I left. 40 minutes later, I was shaking in a closed gas station parking lot, hand still on the wheel, trying to breathe right. Then I saw it. Passenger seat. 1 pine needle. Wet fresh. Same tree as the campsite. Door had been locked all day. Nobody in my car. I just sat there looking at it. A week later, I Googled the campground name and whistle. One result. A post on some dead outdoor forum, 6 years old. Same lake. Same 5 notes across the water. Same thing that answered back. In his version, it didn't say good. It said closer. His account's been deleted. Forum's been offline for years. I have a screenshot. I look at it when I need to remember I'm not the only one. Mostly I look at it because his version of the word bothers me in a way mine doesn't. Good sounds like approval, like you passed a test. That's not what it meant. Dad died on a Tuesday. Kitchen floor. No warning. 3 months later, going through his garage, we found something that made the grief feel like the least strange thing about that year. A camping chair. Faded blue. Aluminum frame. We'd been carrying it for 7 years, without knowing what was sitting in it. Let me go back to the beginning. We were a camping family. Every Thanksgiving weekend, we drive to the same state park, the same lakeside campground we'd been going to since I was 10. Mom, Dad, my little sister Lily, me. That year, we set up 3 chairs around the fire ring. Dad's throne, a tall-backed one with cup holders. Mom's old green chair. Lily's small kid-sized one with butterflies on the fabric. I was 16. I sat on the cooler. We made a fire. We ate. We did the campfire thing, marshmallows, bad jokes. Dad pretending to hear a bear and scaring Lily. Normal family stuff. The kind of night that only exists in past tense. We went to bed around 11. I remember Dad carefully folding all 3 chairs and leaning them against the picnic table. In the morning, there were 4 chairs arranged around the fire ring. Dad's throne, Mom's green one, Lily's butterfly chair, and a 4th, standard adult size, faded blue fabric, aluminum frame, set up neatly, angled toward where the fire had been. like someone had placed it there, sat in it, and watched our embers die. Mom noticed it first. She laughed. Did we bring 4? Dad frowned, counting. I packed 3. Maybe a ranger left it. Lily offered. She was 9. The world was still simple. Dad picked it up and turned it over. No tags. No brand markings. The fabric was worn smooth in the spots where thighs and elbows would rest. It wasn't new. It was used. Thoroughly used by someone who'd spent a lot of time sitting in it. Probably abandoned by another family. Mom decided. Free chair. So we kept it. That was the mistake. I didn't know it then. I used it that night. Every few minutes, I get this crawling sensation between my shoulder blades and glance behind me. Certain someone was standing there. No one ever was. Just trees. At some point, Dad held up his phone for a group photo. Click, click, 2 shots, one right after the other. We finished the trip. Packed up. The blue chair went in the trunk with everything else. Nobody mentioned it again. For 7 years. Dad's camping tote was a big scratched-up plastic bin. Lantern mantles. Bent tent stakes. And 4 chairs. Dad's throne. Mom's green chair. Lily's butterfly seat. And the blue one. Mom pulled it out and held it at arm's length. The phantom chair, she said quietly. It was the first time any of us had acknowledged, out loud, that the blue chair hadn't belonged to us. Lily took it and snapped it open. The front right leg buckled with a metallic groan, nearly dumping her on the concrete. The joint had corroded almost completely through. Deep structural decay. The kind you'd expect from a chair left outside in rain for decades. But it had been in a sealed plastic tote, in a dry garage, for 7 years. We should throw it out, Mom said. She didn't. We spread Dad's ashes in August, at the lake where we'd always camped. Same site. Mom brought all 4 chairs. She set them around the fire ring in the exact arrangement from the old days. Dad's throne on the left, green chair on the right, Lily's chair across. The blue one filling the 4th position, where I used to sit. We sat there as the sun went down. The lake turned from blue to gold to black. I was in Dad's throne. It felt wrong, but also felt necessary. The blue chair sat empty between Mom and me. Every time I glanced at it, I felt both things at once and couldn't separate them. I watched that front right leg all evening, waiting for it to go. It held. Whatever was sitting in it wasn't putting weight down the way a person would. Halfway through the evening, Lily pulled out Dad's old phone. I found something, she said. She'd been going through his camera roll for weeks. Hundreds of photos we'd never seen. She'd found the camping trip, the year the blue chair appeared. She tapped a thumbnail, and there we were. Mom, me, little Lily, gap-toothed, 9 years old, all grinning at the camera. I looked at the chairs. I was in Mom's green chair. Lily in her butterfly chair. Mom perched on the cooler. Dad's throne empty. He was behind the camera. The blue chair also empty. Wait, I said. I thought I was sitting in the blue one. You were earlier, Mom said. You must have switched. Lily swiped to the next photo. Same angle. Same moment. The timestamp was 1 second later. Burst mode duplicate. Identical in every way except one. The blue chair wasn't empty anymore. Something was sitting in it. Not a person. Not exactly. More like the impression of a person. A smudge with shoulders. A blur with a vaguely human outline. Nothing else was blurred. The fire was sharp. The trees were crisp. Lily's face was perfectly in focus. Only the figure in the blue chair was wrong. You could see the shape of a torso. Arms resting on the armrests. A head, tilted forward, as if looking at the fire. No face. Where the face should have been, there was just a smear. Not shadow. Not smoke. Something the camera had tried to capture, and failed. Look at the next one, Lily said quietly. 3rd photo. Same night. A few minutes later. The blue chair had moved. Not much. Maybe 10 degrees. Angled slightly more toward the camera. Like whoever was sitting in it had shifted to get a better view of us. And there were hands on the armrests. Not blurred this time. Clear enough to see fingers. 4 on each side. Pale. Long, slightly too thin. No body attached to them. No arms, no shoulders, no head. Just hands, resting on a chair, in a photo taken 7 years ago. Delete those, I said. All of them. Mom clutched the phone. No, it's the last trip we took together. Whatever that is doesn't belong to us, you guys. Lily's voice cut through us. Thin, terrified. She was staring at something behind me. Count the chairs, she said. I didn't want to. I really didn't want to. But I did. Dad's throne, I was sitting in it. Mom's green chair. Lily's butterfly chair. The blue chair between Mom and me. 4, I said. Count again. I turned around. Behind me, just outside the firelight, half swallowed by shadow, sat a fifth chair. Blue, faded fabric, aluminum frame, identical to the one already in our circle. I hadn't heard it open. I hadn't seen anyone carry it. It was simply there, placed at the edge of the light, angled toward our fire, like it had always been there. Mom, I said carefully, how many chairs did you pack? Her voice came from somewhere distant. 4. I picked up the flashlight and aimed it at the extra chair. The beam hit metal, fabric, the armrests, and for one frame, one fraction of a second that will live behind my eyelids forever, it hit something else. Fingers, resting on the armrests, pale and long, curled around the aluminum, patient, comfortable. The flashlight flickered. The fingers were gone. Just an empty chair. We're leaving, I said. Right now. But your father's ashes. Dad isn't here, I said, harder than I meant to. Whatever that is, it's not him. We packed in a frenzy. I folded Dad's throne, Mom's green chair, Lily's, the blue chair in our circle. 4 chairs. Accounted for. The fifth blue chair, the one in the shadows, was gone. Not folded. Gone. The ground where it had sat was bare and undisturbed. We didn't talk on the drive home. 2 years later, I went camping with coworkers. Different state, different park. I wanted to find out if I could still do it. I saw the chair. At the campsite across from ours. Same faded blue fabric. Same aluminum frame. Same worn patches on the armrests. A guy about my age was sitting in it. Baseball cap, hoodie. Normal. At one point he got up to grab something from his cooler. The chair was empty for maybe 15 seconds. And the fabric on the back moved. Not from wind. There was no wind. It shifted inward, like someone had leaned against it. Like there was weight in the chair I couldn't see. He came back. Sat down. His mouth moved. I was too far to hear. But I can read lips. He said, "Nice chair, right?" Because I'd heard those exact words before. Same cadence. Same inflection. In one of the old videos on Dad's phone. A clip we'd found the night we spread his ashes. Dad had turned the camera on himself, sitting in the blue chair for the first time, and whispered, "Nice chair, right?" Same smile. His head at the exact same angle. I left the next morning. I don't camp anymore. Because somewhere out there, right now, someone is unfolding a chair they don't remember packing, sitting down in it, feeling, just for a second, like someone is standing behind them. They'll look back. Nobody will be there. And they'll keep sitting. And whatever is underneath them, whatever has been in that chair since before they found it, will settle in a little deeper, patient, comfortable, home.